Welcome to Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I'll be covering every studio song the band has recorded and every bonus track that I can find. Each week we'll go over a new song from the beginning to where they are currently, and as they keep adding albums, I'll keep adding shows. Let the deep dive party begin.
In the magic garden, some were singing, some were dancing.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. I am your host, Scott Haskin, and I'm bringing you another song from the album Into the Wild, the April 2011 release and 22nd album from the band Uriah Heep. And today we're here to talk about the song I'm Ready, and I'm ready to do it. Let's get right into it. Here it is by Uriah Heep. Well, they just waste no time. There's a really nice organ swell at the very beginning, and we're off to the races. Really cool riff. I really like this. It's kind of progressive. It's got a lot going on. It's really fast and short, but it feels just like, wow, we're about to get into something here, doesn't it? It has that feeling of just buckle up and get ready. Great right off the start. I just love the sound of that organ swell at the beginning. I kind of wish maybe we had another second or two of that as a build-up just because it sounds so good. But the organ's very dominant in the riff, so that's okay. Really cool start, though. Very energetic. I'm pumped.
The flame burned inside of me, sending me to who knows where. Got my finger on the pulse of light. I take my chances, I don't care.
You know, it's a really good groove that we've got going on here. I really like it. The song is just pumping, and it's got a really good pace to it. It's set at a perfect tempo, and the drums are pushing it forward. There's great guitar and organ work going on here. I cannot for the life of me tell what Trevor's playing. Listening through the headphones I've got in the studio, everything is very muddy on this song. As far as the low end goes, I can barely hear the kick at times cutting through the bass. And the kick on this album has been pretty punchy. So, you know, that's going to be a little bit of an issue on the song. I can tell he's playing a lot because it's a fairly constant bunch of low end that's muddying the mix. It's not like notes here and there where it gets muddy. It's pretty consistent. So I'm going to guess he's probably playing eighth notes or something along with it because of the amount of low end that I'm hearing. But I know Trevor's playing well enough to know that what he's playing is probably very good, probably sits well with the song, but I just can't make it out the way that this is mixed, which is a real shame. I like what I'm hearing otherwise. When I'm able to separate out the bass, I can tell that the rest of it's really good. I just can't really identify what he's playing. The other thing I noticed is that it seems like there's a little bit more low end in Bernie's voice as well. And I don't know if he's singing a little bit lower or if they've just got some more EQ on him on the low range, but it kind of took me by surprise. It sounds good, don't get me wrong, but I was not expecting that. It sounded like, wow, Bernie's voice is different, but he's singing the same. What's going on? So very interesting there, but a cool song.
Walking with the sun shining down on my face, seeing all the pieces just fall into place. When I feel like
You know, a lot of times when we think about a pattern, we tend to think guitar or bass or maybe even organ sometimes when the organs are more rhythmic. But a lot of times we don't think about drums as a pattern. And what you're hearing Russell play, because he's repeating it, that's part of the pattern of the song, just like a guitar riff would be. And I think it fits in really well. But if it was just one time, then that's a drum fill. A couple times, could go either way. You know, if you're doing it 4 times, that is part of the structure of that chorus, and that is built in. That's not a drummer doing a drum fill. It's a drummer playing an alternate lick or riff during that part. So that's what Russell's doing here.
can't understand why fate takes a hand when I know I'm ready.
I'm really glad they didn't do it. I thought they were building to a quick stop right there, the way that the drums had changed, and we're kind of doing that build, but I'm glad that they didn't. I think that would have just taken away from the momentum of the song. And it really does have a good momentum, doesn't it? Listening in the background, I'm hearing some really nice oscillations from the organ. That's pretty cool. And then just such a good drive. But yeah, it's a good song. It's a really good song. It's got a lot of energy to it.
Running through the howling wind, moving through the stinging rain. If you don't take what is given, you only have yourself to blame. Walking with the sun shining down on my face, seeing all the pieces just fall into place. When I feel I can't understand why faith takes a hand, and I know I'm ready. I know so many.
Good God, what a ride that was. That was really great. I loved it. I mean, it's keeping up the energy. We're hearing some double bass. We've got double bass drums, not bass guitar, by the way. But we've got a lot of great solo work in there, and then coming back to a part. I love the changes there. I love when Russell's playing on the toms. That's really cool. Of course, then he's going back to riding on the crash again. That's really signature for him on this album. But just a lot of great playing. I'm kind of like, no, don't end that little solo part. That was really cool. But then what I'm listening to now is really cool, so I don't mind. But I would like a longer solo section in there because there's such great energy. I'm sure that to have done like a regular solo in that section, I think Mick could have done something great, or Phil could have done something great. I thought it might be leading to an organ solo with the way it started with the swell, kind of identifying, hey, I'm the one that's going to take over next, so get ready to pay attention to me. That didn't happen. It was just like a nice little merger and a little break off here and there, and then a return to that central foundational part for that section. Really, really cool. I really dug that. But they're a band that's kind of mastered that. They don't do it all the time, but when they do, and just have these little sections, these little bits of the story that are happening musically, they really know how to pull it together and how to make those changes without making it seem awkward or abrupt or losing the momentum at all. I think that's awesome.
People who never see the light of day. All kinds of trouble and worry seem to get in their way. Walking with the sun shining down on my face, seeing all the pieces just fall into place. When I feel I can't understand why faith takes a hand, I'm walking with the sun shining down on my face, seeing all the pieces just fall into place. When I feel I
So you can hear that drum pattern repeating within that section of the chorus. Every time we hit that, we hit those drum patterns again. So it's definitely part of the song and not like a drum fill. But we're back to, Russell riding on the crash cymbals during this section too. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. It can be great. It's a great effect, especially in a good song that has a really good tempo and really drives like this one does. But there's something lacking in the mix here that allows it to really work for my ears. And again, This is just the set of headphones I'm listening to in my studio. But honestly, it's the combination of that and the really loud bass is just making it very difficult to pick out some of the dynamics that are going on. I really wish I could hear what Phil's playing, because he usually plays something really interesting in this section of the song. Mick usually kicks in with some stuff too. And right now I'm just hearing kind of a mush of sound, which is a shame. This is tough stuff to mix, though. I mean, I'm not dogging on the engineer by any means. This is not the easiest stuff in the world to mix, because you've got such power coming from every instrument. Finding a way to make everything audible and shine is, I think this is probably one of the most difficult scenarios that you can do that in. It's tough, but for the most part, it doesn't sound too bad. But those two elements for me, which has been kind of a theme also on this album, are kind of a little bit overdriven in the mix and bearing some other things that I think we're probably missing. But overall, you still get the spirit of the song. You still get the energy. You still get the passion. You feel the drive of it, no doubt about that. And you can still enjoy it for sure, even without being able to hear 100% of the elements. It's so fun. Even, songs I've never heard like this one. It's interesting to me how I've become so accustomed to the style of Uriah Heep that I'm like, normally you would hear this right about here, and then I start hitting play again, and that's where it comes in. So we heard some great stuff in there, cutting in and out from Mick. Really passionate playing. That's why that right there kind of validates what I said earlier about I wish he had a full-length solo in this song, because I think whatever he would have come up with would have just been mind-blowing. This is a great tempo for him to solo to. It's got such energy. It can go in so many different directions. And the band's going to give great support to a solo in a song like this. So, yeah, that would have been nice. But at least we got to hear a little bit of it towards the end. And we did really get a great middle section on this song. I'm not complaining about that one bit, because that was absolutely fantastic. My little desire, I'm going to say in pretty much every song, I wish we had a bigger mix solo. So that shouldn't be any surprise to anyone who's been listening to the show for a while. But yeah, good song. I like the changes at the end. I thought that was really nice to say, even at the end, we're going to make it sound different. We're going to put in one more change and make it feel different. Russell changing to the ride was a nice surprise there. I like those even, last minute things. Hey, we got like 8 bars. Let's do something different with that last 8 bars. I love that kind of stuff. And then, of course, a nice guitar note delay to fade out there. Really cool. Really good song. I feel all pumped up, like I want to go take on something, even though I really have nothing to take on except another episode of a podcast. So I'll simmer down. But in the meantime, you guys have a fantastic weekend. It is Friday if you're listening in real time or on the calendar day of the release. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. Remember to do something for yourself. Do something great for somebody else. It takes so little effort. Even just saying to somebody, hey, I was thinking about you. I hope you are doing well, can go miles, absolutely miles with people. So take care, guys. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. Cheers. Thank you for joining me on this episode of Uriah Heep, the Magician's Podcast. If you have enjoyed this show, please consider going over to Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast outlet, leaving a rating or a review. Be sure to subscribe to make sure that you are notified when new episodes are available. Please be sure to share this podcast with your fellow Uriah Heep enthusiasts and anyone who you think would like Uriah Heep, which should be everyone. And if you are so inclined, please feel free to contribute to the Patreon account. And if you are not a Patreon subscriber, you can also pay through the PayPal link on the website listed in the show links below. I would also like to thank Uriah Heep for their very generous support of the show. And thank you guys for listening. We'll see you in the next episode. Happy days!